After getting caught up on Platinum End, going from episode 2 to 4, I really do have mixed feelings on the series so far. But this is my impressions on episode 2 through 4 of Platinum End, so let's jump right into it. Kicking things off from my last impression, we essentially have Mirai wanting to go back to school. It seems like he wants to move on with his life, despite the fact that he's one of these god candidates. He doesn't want to take part in it. He's like, you could just take this ability and everything from me, and Nasa's like, that doesn't really work that way. If I take those from you, you die. They put a lot of emphasis in these last 3 episodes to really hone in on the aspect that everybody that is chosen for this is obviously somebody who has given up on life, that has no hope. It was kind of sad to have a little bit of a political statement happen at some point saying, it's a good thing that it's probably not going to have all these god candidates in Japan, right? They're like, you didn't tell them, did you, Nase? Yeah. Actually, they're all in Japan because obviously, despite Japan having some success right now, there's a lot of people that have given up on life, so yeah, they're all in Japan. Obviously hitting heavy on the aspect of there's a high suicide rate in Japan, and so that gives a lot of incentive for a lot of people of these candidates to be in Japan. But yeah, he decides that he's going to use his red arrow to force his uncle to turn himself in so that he can get his money and have a place to stay, and then he's going to go back to school, which he does end up getting to the school that he wants to go to because Saki's going there, and surprisingly enough, I thought it was kind of hinting at this idea that this guy that was claiming to be Metropoliman, who is one of these candidates that's dressing up inside of this kind of Super Sentai outfit and going out and stopping crime and claiming that he wants all the other candidates to come to him so they can fight it out and that he can become God. It was hinting at him going to school, so I'm like, Mirai is totally going to run into this guy. He leaves Nase behind so that they can't see his angel, and nope, it's Saki. He sees an angel right when he shows up, and it's this butt-winged angel, which, yeah, insert butt-wing jokes. This Revel angel. And Revel is, again, the angel that's following Saki, which, again, implies that Saki was giving up on life as well, just like Mirai. And this is this girl that he really likes, and she immediately shoots him with the red arrow. We kind of find out that, yes, every single one of these angels seem to have a different rank. And depending on the rank, they give their god candidates different abilities. There's some that have no wings, they only have red arrows. There's some that have wings and red arrows. There's some that have all 3 things. So it kind of hits heavily on this idea that they all have their own way of possibly winning the god candidate system, but some have less capabilities than others. But yeah, Saki having Revel is one of these lower ranked ones, so she doesn't even have wings. And so Revel wants to use Mirai being red arrow shot to essentially give Saki the ability to use wings, because why are wings important? Well, wings are apparently the only way that you can avoid arrows. These arrows that have a 100% success rate, you can outrun them if you have wings. So this is kind of funny because Mirai, obviously, it was kind of a shocker to go this direction because I figured it would turn to one of those things where when he was going to school, I immediately thought, okay, watch, Kanade is going to be there and Mirai is going to see him. He's going to try to avoid him. But then Kanade, for some reason, is going to want to go shoot Saki with a red arrow, and that's going to force him to have to move. No, it was Saki that was a candidate, and she shoots him. So yeah, this whole segment, whole 33 days of Mirai being obsessed with Saki, which he technically already was. And it was at some point Revel was going to try to force Mirai to go fight this Metropoliman, but then Nase shows up and is like, no, stop. I think he was saying that Revel was known as the trickster angel or something like that, whereas Nase is known as the innocent angel. That's why she's not like capable apparently, but because she's so pure, she is like such a high ranking angel, which is kind of interesting to see that. I think one of the interesting things that I found in these last 3 episodes was just how much emphasis they're putting into the rank system and the angels themselves, and not just making it be about here's a bunch of people that are low in the dirt and they all became god candidates and how they react to it. Because I think that's where it can easily go to. And it definitely felt like it was going into with like episode 3, where I'm like, okay, now we're putting a lot of emphasis on, okay, now let's do a backstory of every single candidate, and oh yeah, by the way, they're low and they're upset and they're at their wits' end. I get it. But yeah, Metropoliman is wanting them to show up at some baseball field so that he can have a talk. He no longer wants to kill all the candidates. He wants to have a talk, and which obviously, Mirai and Saki and Revel, they all know this is a trick, but they go anyways. I was yelling out loud. I think probably Chris heard me. I was like, okay, you're afraid of your identity being out there because the moment they know that you have an angel with you or that you are one of these god candidates, you're a target. And so he publicly announces that he's going to have this meeting at this baseball field. Watch it on one of the 50 networks that's live covering it. You don't have to go there physically, but no, they decide to go there physically to watch it. And it's like, you guys are idiots. Of course, there's all these drones and everything everywhere. I'm like, this guy's probably watching where you're looking. And the moment you look at one of these angels, you've revealed that you're there. And yes, what it technically turns into is him baiting the other candidates to come out because, yes, when they arrive there, a Metropoliman shows up, and it's obviously not him because it's some human that's in his outfit that's been shot with a red arrow. He basically forces these two guys to come out. This other girl shows up and is like, let me be a part of your team, and he rushes out there and grabs her, and then they forces two other people to come in acting like they're god candidates, but they were paid by him as well, and then he comes in and takes them all out. And then, he basically ties up two of them and starts shooting them and trying to get the other god candidates to come out because obviously a young girl screaming for somebody to help her because she can't protect herself is going to force people to jump out there. So my thoughts. I really wasn't sure if I was going to enjoy this show, and I really do hate the fact that it got more interesting the moment that it just turned into torture stuff. Like, okay, here's this poor little girl and she's going to die, and that suddenly makes it more interesting because is the hero going to save her? I think it was when obviously the point in which it gets into moral conundrums, it's going to get more interesting. And that's a sad truth. For me, it's going to cause some sort of desire in me to see what this outcome is. It's the train wreck effect. But at the same time, looking back on it, I hate the fact that that's the only thing that's really driving me right now. Like I said, I enjoy the aspects of the ranking system, getting into all that stuff, the different powers, but I get a little bit of frustration in the fact that I don't really care too much for the backstories. Well, they've only technically had like 2 characters do a backstory. And the let's make up rules as we go along concept. It's not that it's making up rules. Technically, story-wise, it's revealing rules as it goes along, but it's that element that I'm not too sure about. I obviously knew that something was going to be in play the moment they start saying, well, this arrow is 100% hitting, so obviously there's going to be some reason why it's not going to just be whoever shoots first. There's going to be something more interesting to it, and obviously you see an idea of that with this scene at the baseball field. You're seeing how one person is utilizing the rules to trick people, but at the same time, it's one of those things where as it goes along, I'm going, wait, so how did you know that these guys were going to do this? How did you know this was going to happen? How do you know everybody's going to be dressing up like this and that you had to dress up 2 other people to be this? Did everybody come together before the baseball field to decide to color code themselves so nobody wears the same outfit? It's that kind of like, how did you know all this was going to play out exactly how it played out? Genius character that just never makes mistakes. It gets in that realm. It gets into the super brainiac realm of this guy being way too smart and is too smart to be believable. Everything plays perfectly. And I get a little bit of frustration with that. Even still, like I said, I do acknowledge the aspect of playing off the moral conundrum and a desire for the MC to play the hero. Granted, he's doing it because Saki is basically telling him to do it, and he doesn't really want to do it because he's fearing for his own life. But it does create that conundrum, the self-sacrifice conundrum that I think is a driving force. It is something that you obviously want to see how it plays out. So I'm both frustrated by the 4th episode, but at the same time, the 4th episode technically was the reason for me to be resparking and enjoying the series because despite my dislike for the perfectly played out genius plan, it does technically play heavily into creating mechanics that make this more interesting than just who shoots first. Again, also having Saki shoot Mirai, I wasn't really expecting that. So it's showing me signs that the writer is doing things that are very clever with the writing, and it's not going to be completely what I expect. Like I said, the whole situation with Saki and the school didn't play out anyway like I was expecting it to play out. So either way, I'm still interested to see where it goes. I have my issues with the series, but I'm still definitely interested in it, and I'm curious where it will go from here. I think episode 5 is going to be really telling as to what the writer is willing to do. Is the writer willing to have this girl die just for the sake of proving how harsh this world is? Is self-preservation more important than other people's lives? Why only step out when it's a crying girl and not the guy that obviously didn't want to die either? It's playing on human nature, and that is always interesting. And that's technically something that was interesting with Death Note, and I think they're pulling it off with Platinum End. Whether it becomes something interesting going forward, we'll have to wait to find out. But that's my thoughts on episode 2 through 4. I hope you guys enjoyed this impression. If you did, leave a like down below. Comment, let me know what you thought of this entire segment of episodes. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video if you can. Support us on Patreon or through our tips link in the description below. I definitely appreciate everybody that does, and y'all take care.